Did you just buy or are you looking to purchase a Kubota Z400 series? Well, today I'm going to do an orientation on one for you. Hey guys, it's Zach here from Kubota Lynchburg, and today I wanted to go over the Kubota Z400 series. So this would be the Kubota Z412, Z422, and Z421 models, which they're all very similar, just different deck sizes and small different features on them. But I'm going to kind of go over an orientation, what you need to know about it, how to use it, how to maintain it properly, and how everything works on it. Because this is a high-end residential or beginner commercial model. There's a lot of people out there that purchase these things, and there's little features or functions about it that you might not know, or you're looking to buy one and you go, all right, why or what is good about it? So the 400 series, being that high-end residential model, has some really nice features. And I'm not going to go into all the specs and everything on this, but one of the nicest things if you get the Z422 and not the 421 is you get the suspension seat on it. So probably one of my favorite features on it, one of my top 3 favorite features, is you get an adjustable suspension seat. So to adjust how firm or how soft it is, you're going to just do that by dialing in or out this knob right here. So if you turn it counterclockwise, it makes it a little bit more springy, or if you turn it clockwise here, it's going to make it a little bit more firm, which is very nice depending on how much you weigh. If you're 100 pounds, you're going to want more springy. If you're 300 pounds, you're going to want it more firm for the springs underneath. So easy adjustable suspension seat. You also have adjustable armrests. So you can see right now it's pretty comfortable, but let's say I was really tall or really short, I might want to just spin these little knobs here. And look, if I'm really tall, I can have it come all the way down, or I could spin it the opposite way and have it sit at the top. So a lot of adjustments on these Z400 series as far as comfortability on it, because you're going to be using it for a while. You can slide this seat forward and back as well. Again, short or tall makes it a little bit easier to use. Even though I am 5'11", I still need it kind of forward because the next thing I'm going to talk about is this right here. This is going to be to raise and lower your mower deck. Now this mower deck raise and lower is assisted by a little cylinder, so you're not having to push the whole weight of the mower deck each time. It is an assisted system. So basically, if I were to push this once, all the way in, it locks at the top. You can kind of see it stays up there, and my mower deck is at its top level. If I were to push it again and let go, it'll bring it back to whatever height I have set here. So if you come take a look at this knob, this dial, this is going to be your height adjustment. So right now, this little indicator at 3.5 means I'm going to be cutting at 3.5 inches. So if I take the weight off the mower deck or lock it in its top position, I can now spin this knob to whatever height I want to cut at. Let's say I want to cut really short at 2 inches. Great. I do that, press that, and all the way down, basically riding on the ground at this point. So that is how you adjust your deck height. Now, I do recommend if you're buying something used or you just don't trust the dealership you get it from, it is worth basically taking a measuring tape and measuring to make sure that all 4 corners of your mower deck are level on a like flat concrete surface or something like that, to make sure you're getting a good even cut. Because you can adjust each corner by this little bolt there. There's another bolt back there on all 4 corners, so you can adjust, your deck level. You can also adjust your anti-scalp wheels while we're talking about it. So you've got your anti-scalp wheels. There are 3 different holes. You can't see from the outside, but on the inside, there are 3 different holes that you can adjust this up or down on. You can see where the bolt is, so it bolts right there. And those will allow you to control, if you're going to be going over really rough ground, if you want it to push the deck up first versus kind of gouging into it. Personal preference on which way and what your ground looks like on what you want to do there. You also, on the 54 and 60 inch decks, have this center one. Same system, you can raise and lower that as needed. Now on the front of this machine, you do have pneumatic tires. So there is air in these tires. They're not flat free or anything. So they're very difficult to go flat, not unheard of, but they are pneumatic, so keep them pressured up. But lawnmowers, you don't want too much pressure in your tires. So refer to your operator's manual. It'll tell you, or read internet. There's a lot of people out there who'll tell you what tire pressure you want in each of your tires. But make sure these are filled with the same amount of pressure in each one, so you're not doing an unlevel cut on it. So one of my top 3 favorite features on this, other than suspension seat, is going to be this lift out platform here. So it's got little grips to it. You pull it out and wow, easy access to your mower deck. So keeping that clean is key, because when you get grass, leaf, debris, branches in there, and those belts and pulleys are spinning at crazy speeds, because I know the blade tip speed on this is over 18,000 per minute. Basically you build up a lot of heat and a lot of friction and a lot of wear and tear. So being able to pull this platform out and blow or wash off that deck, you can pressure wash this thing all day, it'll never hurt it. It's important to keep that clean. And it's important, I'm going to lower this real quick, and it's important to keep these side pulleys clean. So if you come take a look at it, it says no step. Now that doesn't mean you can't step on this mower deck, because I can jump on this all day long and it'll be just fine. You just don't step on this black plastic piece. But this will pop out. You grab back here on the edge and pull up. This pops out, and now you have access to your other pulleys on it. So keep those clean as well. Pressure wash, take an air nozzle, clean these things off. You don't want debris building up in here. So, little debris like this leaf doesn't mean anything, but grass and everything like that, and especially wet grass, is not ideal. All right, and that just slides back in there. This slides in, and you're good to go again. Your mower deck, there's not a ton of maintenance. These are sealed spindles, so you don't have to worry about greasing your spindles or greasing your pulleys or anything like that, since they're sealed. They do have a good factory warranty on them if you ever have issues, which is nice. Realistically, the maintenance to it's going to be sharpening your blades. So these blades come off with a single 30 millimeter blade bolt. So just get yourself a 30 millimeter socket, an adjustable wrench. Ideally, you want an impact gun or electric drill or something like that to basically take these off with a 30 millimeter. Take your blades off and sharpen them as needed. That is going to change depending on what kind of grass and what terrain you're in. If you're in sandy terrain, you're going to have to sharpen them a lot because it wears down quick. But that's all you're going to need to take the mower blades off, is basically jack up the front of it and take those off. As we go back to the operator station real quick, the number one thing I see for people making a mistake when they start a mower is, and this is standard, I teach people this all the time, so you have your choke here. So when you're starting a mower from a cold start, you're going to pull up your choke, your handles need to be out, and your parking brake needs to be on. Your parking brake is the center two levers. If I put just the left side in, it'll pop off, my parking brake is off. If you use one foot and push them both at the same time, parking brake is on. Although you could also do 2 feet, push the left one with this one, lock that in and let go. But usually it's easiest 1 foot for both. So parking brake on, handles out, choke up if it's cold, or even if it's lukewarm, you usually have to choke almost all the time, and turn your key. As it starts to catch and start up, you're going to want to push your choke back down. And then you have your throttle right here. You do want to start the engine at a low throttle, and you want to turn it off at a low throttle, so you're not starting at full throttle. That's just too much wear and tear on your engine. So start and turn off at low throttle. Again, choke up. When it catches, push it back down, and you're good to go. Now, the first mistake I see people make is, I started my mower, I'm gonna go cut the grass. Oh, and it shuts off on you. That's standard, that's normal, everybody does it. I still do it occasionally when I'm not thinking about it. The correct steps are handles out, parking brake on, start the mower. Now take the parking brake off so you're not running into the parking brake, and now you can pull your handles in and you can move the machine. Now, moving the machine, if you've never driven a zero turn before, is very easy. You push harder on the right side, you turn left. You push harder on the left side, you turn right. And if you pull backwards, as you see me doing, you go backwards. And the true joys of a zero turn is when you push and pull at the same time, and you spin in a zero. The whole reason it's called a zero turn is because you can spin with zero overlap or anything like that to it. Parking brake back on. Now let's say your handles are in and you push this parking brake, shuts it off. Now if I do it real quick, it'll start itself back up, but handles out, parking brake on. Now I can get out of the seat. There is a seat safety switch. So what if I'm running this mower, my parking brake's off and I'm moving, right? Oh, there's a dog toy in the yard, let me go get it. Shuts off because there's a seat safety switch. But if you had your parking brake on, you can keep the machine running and moving. So that's kind of your, think about it like you don't want to run the machine against the parking brake and damage it. So parking brake has to be on if you're sitting still. If you're moving or going to move, your parking brake has to come off. Now what you should be doing is if your roll bar is in the up position, that's the next thing we're going to talk about, is wear your seatbelt. So you have a seatbelt, hills and slopes, plug it in, make sure you're good to go there. So if your roll bar is up, always put your seatbelt on. If we want to talk about roll bars, my third favorite thing about this machine is the folding roll bar. So I've already pulled one of the pins, but if you loosen these up, and if you take a look at this pin with me, you have one little Carter pin basically that you're going to pull here on either side, unlocks it. You're going to pull this pin out from the roll bar, and it's going to sit here. It's just going to dangle so you can't lose it. And it is going to make annoying dinging noises and stuff like that right now. And then this just folds down and around. And now you can get under low-hanging limbs, under that pesky clothesline that you've got hanging up. You can park it in your garage, and you can use these pins to go back and lock it into the folded down position, which is nice. Now they're not going to rattle around and everything like that when I'm driving the machine. So you can fold your roll bar down on this very easily. Put it back up, put your pin back in, and you're ready to safely roll again. So as we come back on the machine, we had the deck level height adjustment, choke, throttle, ignition. This is your PTO lever. So this is going to be to turn your blades on and off. So this yellow lever here turns your blades on, push it down, turn your blades off. Very simple and easy. I recommend doing that low to middle throttle. Never turn the blades on or off at full throttle or high throttle, as it's going to do more wear and tear on the system. The only other thing to show down here is there is an hour meter. So to keep track of service intervals and everything like that, you do have an hour meter right in that location. Now, since we're looking there, let's go ahead and look underneath the seat. Underneath the seat, you have your fuel tank. It keeps the fuel tank directly in the center of the machine, low center of gravity, holds a good amount of fuel. Because this is a carbureted system, because there's a choke and a carburetor to it, I always recommend running ethanol-free gas. So you don't want ethanol in your gas. You want to run fuel treatment in it a couple times a year. But ideally, don't use ethanol gas. Use ethanol-free if you can, because it's just going to gum up your carburetor and eat your gaskets and everything like that. Underneath here, though, you will have a periodic service chart. So basically, this will tell you what to do, when to do it, your daily checks, your 8-hour break-in, your 100-hour break-in, what to check and what it is. This will actually tell your tire pressures as well, in case you didn't want to read your owner's manual. And it even says it in Spanish. You've got a fuel shutoff valve here. So if you ever have to work on the fuel system or it's wintertime or something like that, you can shut off your fuel there. And you've got not extra fuses, but these are your slow blow fuses if you ever need to replace a fuse. This is very important. This is a question I get a lot, is what happens with this clear tank? Why isn't it full? This is your hydraulic fluid reservoir tank. There should be a tiny little layer in the bottom. You can kind of see right there, there's a tiny little layer in the bottom, and that's all you want. That is your full line, because as you run this machine for an hour or two, it's going to heat up, and that fluid is going to expand as it heats up, and it's going to fill up your tank. If you were to fill up this tank all the way, saying, hey, it needs to be full, and then it heats up, where does it go? Well, it blows this cap off, and you just made a mess everywhere. So tiny little bit at the bottom, that's all you want, and that is 20W50 engine oil. That sounds really weird, but that is 20W50 engine oil. That is your hydraulic fluid. Just take my word for it, or read your operator's manual. Two other cool features over here: place to put your cell phone, cup holder for your drinks, whether it's coffee or beer, and you do have a 12-volt outlet in case you were pulling like a tow-behind sprayer, or you just wanted to charge your cell phone while you were going. You do have a 12-volt outlet on this 400 series as well. And then the only other really thing is on the back, you've got your engine, which I guess is somewhat important because that's how the machine moves. You have your air filter underneath this cover. Just spin these sideways, pick it up. Usually there's a pre-cleaner on this air filter. Yep, sure enough, pre-cleaner on this air filter. You want to make sure that stays clean. Blow out your air filter at least once or twice a year, maybe more than that if you're doing a lot of yards. Make sure that this isn't clogged up with grass or debris or nests or anything like that. You want to make sure, because this is where a lot of your power comes from, or power loss comes from, if it's clogged up. So check your air filter frequently. It's so easy to do, you might as well do it. So, and then this just goes back on. All right, so check your engine oil right here. This is your engine oil dipstick. So it's got a full and low line, just like a car dipstick or anything. So check your engine oil. I recommend doing this every time before you run your mower, because just in case you got a leak out or something like that, and you didn't look for a puddle underneath the machine before you go and use it, and it is low and you blow up your engine, that's an expensive fix. So check your engine oil. It takes you about 15 seconds. Wipe this off, look at it and go, hey, I'm good to go for the day. There's There's a Z400 sitting right down there for my service that has a blown engine because guess what? Ran it out of engine oil. So yeah, just dropped off this morning. So yeah, don't do that. On the other side, you have your battery and your fuel filter. So if you ever need to jump it or replace your battery, that's very easy access. And if you ever put like the wrong fuel in it, you get water in your fuel system, you have a little inline fuel filter that you can replace very simply and very easily right there. And one of my other cool little features on this is it does have a hitch point standard from the factory. So pulling a little trailer, pulling a little core aerator. Now this has a fully commercial grade transmission in it. So pulling a little aerator or a seed box or something like that, all day long, it'll do it. It is a heavy enough transmission, a good enough transmission. It can pull some good work. So again, this will come in the 48, 54, 60 inch. All the features are very similar, basically the same other than a suspension seat on the 1 Series versus the 2 Series. But that should kind of give you guys some things to think about and things to go over when you're looking at the Kubota Z400 series.